I'm Megan Bennett.
I'm Leslie Meyer.
And this is Gen X Women Are Sick of This Shit. Hi, Leslie. That was dramatic, wasn't it?
Hello, Megan. Welcome to the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
It sounds a little bit like Dory from like
I
Nemo.
love Dory. Who are you?
I'm Ellen DeGeneres.
I love Finding Nemo. First day of school. It's such a good movie.
It is a cute movie. How you been?
You know what I just realized?
What?
We're wearing the same clothes that we wore last time we were together.
We are like that.
So, did they record these on the same day, or did they do them at a different time?
If you can't see us,
You
just know that we're
guess.
nodding and shaking our heads.
You
figure out what
guess.
that means.
We're busy.
We are busy, so we are trying to be as efficient as humanly possible.
And that is really hilarious.
It is hilarious.
that we are being efficient.
If we've got 5.5 seconds to cram in a podcast episode, I feel like we're doing pretty good.
Do it. 5.5 seconds.
Boom.
Listen fast, friends. This is going to be over quick.
Nah.
I'm doing well.
I'm so glad.
Thank you.
You're so very welcome.
I'm here and I'm ready to go.
I love it.
And we're going to hit it.
We are going to hit it. So we are going to talk. You've got your big, dramatic,
life-changing event
from your childhood.
Yes, I do.
From your young Gen X self.
Yes.
And so we're going to talk about that today. We're also going to do a little gossipy gossip.
Yeah.
Because we haven't done that in a while.
We have not done that in a while. We used to do hot bullshit and hot goss.
Mhm.
We always bullshit, but we haven't had
You're full
hot
of that.
goss. And then hot goss kind of evolved into Who Died This Week. But now Who Died This Week is its own segment.
Yeah.
And it's just been a slow death week.
we're just fresh out of death.
Sorry.
I mean, I'm okay with that. Unless, of course.
So we're going to do a gossip. We're going to
gossip.
We're going to do a gossip instead. Unless somebody dies between the time that we record this and the time it's released, in which
We'll
case
catch up.
we'll pick them up the next time around.
We'll just catch up. It's fine.
Everyone gets their due. Okay, what's the goss?
So I think you and I were talking about like kind of current event stories.
Yes.
We could get uber super political because I know you and I have very strong opinions about
So many.
some of the BS bullshit that is happening in our
That is not hot goss. It
country?
is just bullshit. Yes,
It's
agreed.
just so much bullshit. But honestly, I don't even know that I have the mental capacity to keep up with it, which I think is on purpose, right? I think it's
Sure.
like a just
keep them coming.
keep
One hit
smacking these
after the
people
other.
around. They won't know what just hit them. And I
Right.
think that's where we are. It's literally only been 7 months.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're talking about in this current timeline. Yes, you are
It's
correct.
fucking awful.
Yes.
Anywho, I don't think I could wrap my head around one particular thing to even talk about.
Yes.
So we decided we were going to roll in with some gossipy stuff and some stuff that's kind of making headlines, but in a more like celebrity kind of way.
Yes. And in our like quest for advocacy for women.
Yes. So with that in mind, we were thinking about Bruce Willis and his wife, Emma.
Yes. I had just watched this interview.
So tell me about that because I did not see it.
Okay. So I was scrolling. I really limit my social media, but I do follow some news outlets on Instagram. Jessica Yellen, News Not Noise. Would you like to throw in a plug for your favorite news outlet on the socials?
Well,
Or
so
pod?
the pods. I'm a big fan of Pod Save America. Hey,
Excellent.
by the way, if those guys would like to have us on as part of the Crooked Media, we are totally game for
crooked.
that. I love you guys. You should hire us.
So Instagram news people that I love, Jessica Yellen, News Not Noise. She also has a great Substack. And then Under the Desk News is the other one I really love. And I'm stalling long enough to get their name. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I can say this out loud and not be wrong. It's V. I'm just going to go with V because I don't want to fuck up their name. But Under the Desk News is also very accurate, balanced, waiting for all the facts.
Gotcha.
There's some humor in there. It's very, but it like will sum up at the end of the day. And V does a brilliant job with that.
That's awesome.
So I was the scrolling and, had gone through my News Not Noise headlines, and then Katie Couric Media popped up, and she had done the interview with Emma, who is married to Bruce Willis.
Yes.
Her last
Heming
name
Willis.
is Heming Willis.
Mm-hmm.
And she's getting ready to release a book,
Mm-hmm.
and it is about her caregiver journey. But also the interview was happening because she recently had to make the decision. I'm sure that she and Bruce had these conversations with the whole family long before it got to this point, to have him in housing separate from the rest of the family because of the progression of his disease, which is actually called frontal temporal dementia, or FTD. It is not Alzheimer's. I do not know the ins of that.
Which I would just like to point out is absolutely terrifying that there are multiple types of diseases like that. Holy shit. Like
Yes.
we're all, I think we're all pre-programmed to be terrified of Alzheimer's
Sure.
and just generally dementia. But then to learn that there's other things that do feel similar to,
Right. That can emerge in
to that.
different
It's
points.
like one more thing we get to look out for. Yippee.
And Katie had done the interview with her because of some of the online backlash,
Mhm.
which like, I just really hate all of that. Like, everybody just needs to sit down and think, that's not my life. Maybe I don't need to comment.
Maybe I don't have all the facts
Mhm.
and don't need to be a judgy Judson because that's bullshit. Yeah.
And so she felt like, I'm sure there was probably some interview in the works for the book and stuff, but the timing of everything and just the ferocity of the backlash against her and just people being so self-fucking righteous about how could you ever put a family member in it? And unless you have lived with, cared for, or loved someone who has a disease that impacts their memory.
Mhm.
I mean,
and physically how he is
absolutely.
as well.
Like just take a seat.
Yeah.
Right.
Even if you had a full-time in-home caregiver,
it is not the same.
It's not the same.
Absolutely not. So there's just been a lot of judgment and brutality. And Katie Couric is a brilliant journalist and a really compassionate interviewer. And so I watched that interview and I was just like, man, women, we can't fucking ever do it right. And much of the judgment that I was reading online was coming from other women.
Yeah. We are the hardest on other women.
It's
Absolutely.
just brutal. And like, what are you doing? So you make one choice and you're wrong for doing that. What if he stayed at home and there was an accident or their children were harmed? She'd be judged for that.
Yep.
It's like,
how dare you go to the grocery?
All of these
or
things.
Whatever.
And they have, economic resources. They do not have to worry about finances in terms of care. They probably already had 24/7 care, but at some point, like, you need
for his
different kinds
comfort
of things.
too.
Absolutely.
Right. It's not just about whether you can control all the situations. It's about how comfortable is he going to be? How comfortable is if you decide to put your loved one into a facility of some type, you're thinking about, presumably you're thinking about their best interests and their safety and how they'll,
and that's for most of us
better and more comfortable.
The reality is he's like in a home right next to their house. Yeah. So he's not gone.
Right.
And is provided with all of the resources because I think one of the things that I heard was, they have younger children. And so like loud noises are really kind of difficult. Like he just needs a calm vibe and you can't be like, shh, all the time.
Right. The kids need to be able to run around and be kids.
To your point, like for his comfort. And it just enrages me that the consistent feedback, it's like women can't do enough. And I think that it's sort of...
No, of course not.
Right? And it's fed by this like toxic narrative around self-sacrifice, giving until there's nothing left. And I would imagine many women, it never occurred to them that there could be another possibility, that like no is a complete sentence, that you can ask for help, require that other people. And so when you're like dried out and left with nothing, and you see someone else making different choices, obviously resources notwithstanding, like just getting help in a different way or accessing other resources, there's like anger there because I didn't get that.
Yeah.
You should be doing what I did.
Take care. Yeah. I didn't put my loved one in a care facility. I suffered all the time. Well,
absolutely.
It sucks. I'm sorry.
Yes. And that's really awful. And you shouldn't have had to do that.
Yeah.
Like we are under-resourced.
Maybe you didn't have that option.
Absolutely.
Right. And I totally get that. That happens.
Absolutely. And caregivers in general, we're under-resourced. We're in a really tough position right now. I mean, we're going to continue to be under-resourced.
Yeah.
Insurance is going to get fucking blown up. I mean, we already underpay care providers, period. And then when you were caring for someone at home.
The sheer number of people who are going to get booted off of Medicaid.
Yeah.
And are going to end up,
with
nothing. Fucking homeless.
Yes.
Like that's where we're heading, where there are people who have, big time medical needs.
Yeah.
Are going to be literally on the streets.
Yes.
Because there is nowhere that will take them or care for them.
Yep. I mean, when the emergency room is your only access.
And we're already, at least in where we are.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
absolutely
already we see that.
Bad like that.
And rural emergency rooms we were not going to go down this rabbit
hole. No, we weren't.
But
I know.
Here we are. Rural emergency rooms are going to have to start closing because of the loss of access to Medicaid dollars. It's a whole thing. But this one was like, it's all about the women. And until you are like walking this road for yourself.
And even if you are walking this road yourself, a little bit of grace for other people, because you don't know, we can make assumptions about their situation,
which is all they are.
Right. They've got a big blended family. You've got Demi Moore living there too. You've got all the, surely they could come up with, don't get judgy. We don't know what every day is like in somebody else's home and what they're going through. And that's just not fair.
Nope. And
And if women got our shit together and we all had each other's backs, ladies, men wouldn't stand a fucking chance.
Yeah. Fuckers. No, I'm just kidding.
And I don't mean that like, I'm not trying to manhate. Right. I'm just saying like, if we supported each other
then
as a sisterhood, we would be able to overcome an awful lot.
The system of misogyny would quickly break down because if nothing else, it would just be like, oh, no, we don't do that here.
Yes, this is not how we behave.
Respect for one is respect for all, and it works both ways.
Yep.
So the interview was really lovely, and I was glad to see it. And Katie Couric's a fierce advocate, and it just stood out to me. And I think on top of like we won't go down the rabbit hole of this too much, but with so many people with the Tylenol autism pseudo link, and it is not a link. Correlation does not.
Causation, correlation
is
those two things are not.
Those don't go together. No, all my words are gone. We've already said a lot of words. But it's the same thing. We're going to heap a bunch of guilt and shame onto mothers.
Yeah. Because pregnancy is easy.
Pregnant people who have had children and say it's your fault.
I read a funny post that somebody had made that said, this administration is very concerned about lower birth rates. So by all means, let's get rid of the only pain medication that a pregnant woman could take, and let's see how that helps our birth rates.
Right.
Having no more babies. I mean, I'm not anyway, but
no, true. And so that's an interesting thing too for like Gen X. Like many of it, although we're a broad generation, and there are some folks in their 40s who might still be. There could be all sorts of reasons why you might be birthing babies. But some of us, I think it kind of goes, it's like, oh, well, I don't worry about that. Where my kids are fine. I took Tylenol and drank and smoked, and there's no autism in my family. But it doesn't look at environmental factors. There are a billion other things that happen to our food supply since then. It doesn't look at
any of that shit.
Yes.
Any of that shit. Did I send you the picture of the plastic?
No.
Did I?
I don't know. Maybe.
So I had to go to a thing for work, and it was at the government center. Whoa, help me. It was an Indiana State thing, which was wild. And a lot of environmental people were there, which didn't jive either in my head.
Interesting.
But my booth for my organization was set next to another booth, and she was a chemist that worked at Valparaiso University.
Okay.
And she was a PhD. And she was trying to like explain about plastics in microplastics in our bodies.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And she had these little vials on her counter. And one of them had like white powder in it, 7 grams. So 7 grams is like, I don't know, like a little tube thing. And that's how much is in our brains.
Oh my God.
7 grams of plastic in our fucking brains. And I did make the joke when I picked up the little vial and she said, oh, it's 7 grams. And I said, well, there's only a certain number of people in like my generation and older who are even going to understand what 7 grams is.
The joke is in my head. And if you were at Studio
cocaine, right?
54.
Right, exactly. So
you know exactly what 7 grams
I know what 7 grams looks like because of that. But yeah, 7 fucking grams of plastic in our goddamn brains. You think maybe that might have something to do with, autism or literally any of the other issues?
Yes, absolutely.
Jesus
my
Christ.
gosh. Yes.
But let's blame
look at other things.
I'm sorry.
And
let's
women.
blame acetaminophen. It's not that fucking hard to say.
Damn.
Burn. You know who that's directed to?
We don't know anything.
Casey's listening. Acetaminophen. Acetaminophen.
Acetaminophen.
Is that right? Is that good?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyway.
We're not political on this show because that would be silly.
Well.
Not true.
Might be a little political.
We are a fierce defender of women and of pregnant people. And
yes, absolutely.
This is a whole lot of bullshit. And if you are a care provider for someone that you love, it's no one's business but yours.
We see you and we hope that you have support because it really is fucking hard.
It's so difficult.
Be good to yourself whenever you possibly can.
Oh my gosh, yes. And ask for help. We can go into that on a different episode if we want to. We have so many future episodes, maybe.
I like that you tagged it with maybe.
Maybe. Well, mostly the maybe is will we remember them after we talk about them? We'll have to go and re-listen and then we'll go, oh yeah, that was a good idea.
And make notes because I know in the last episode we already talked about something we should talk about and I don't remember what that was. So we're going to have to go back and listen.
Probably true. And that was just like 20 minutes ago.
Yep.
All right. Well, maybe we take a break and then we come back and we talk about do you want to know what my...
No, I want you to tell me after the break.
Oh, after the break?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gen X Women Are Sick of the Shit is supported by Lilas, Love You Like a Sis, a Gen X women's social club.
What's Lilas, Megan?
Lilas is our off-platform, off the Books of Faces, off all of the other traditional social media. It is our space and place for Gen X women to come together, have conversations, meet each other. It's a social club.
It is a social club. It's a membership-based club. Memberships are $10 a month. That does help support us in growing the platform. We purchased a platform that would host a network of women so that you could come together and meet each other in real time.
In a safer space,
yes,
right, than a traditional social media platform, and a much more personal space. So what do we do there, Leslie?
We host movie nights where we live stream some of our favorites as they are available to us for group watches of films from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. We host a space for a monthly book club. We host
trivia nights
once a month. We have a live text chat.
4 prizes even.
4 prizes. That's true.
Yeah.
The space is able to host like weekly text chats so that you can kind of check in real time with people. I would say the critical difference between kind of what this space is and any other social media space that I've experienced is that it is active. You will have to engage in it or be engaged in it by other people. So it's not like a passive consumption thing. It's like making connections.
Yep. And if that's what you're looking for, the opportunity to meet other people, to find people who are maybe in the same similar spaces as you are.
Like-minded, same time, phase of life, navigating all of those transitions.
Then this might be the right place for you. So check out Lilas. You can learn more about it at genxwomenpod.com.
Here we are. We've returned.
We're back.
We are back. Ding, ding, ding. Feels like, God, what is that? That takes me back to when there were chimes in department stores.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know what they were for. Was it like to pick up your packages when they were wrapped, or just like...
Did it tell staff like the time?
Maybe, or maybe like different like chimes, but they were really gentle. Like,
I'm gonna Google that
shit.
I
mean, it was old. Like, I maybe experienced it a singular time at like a very old Ellis Airs or something. Or I could be remembering, is it Faulty Towers? No, what's the comedy that's in the department store?
I have an answer.
Are You Being Served? Okay, I could be remembering that too.
In old department stores, chimes served as a coded communication system for staff, alerting different departments or personnel such as management or loss control to specific needs or situations using a specific number of rings. They also served as an early form of high-tech security, notifying store staff of a customer's arrival at the entrance to ensure service and deter theft.
Oh, fascinating.
I think it's a beautiful little ding, ding,
I
ding.
do too.
Which means that bitch done stole some shit.
By the time I worked at department stores, we just had phones on the counters and you would get a call from loss prevention. There's someone stealing shit from your blah, 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 blah. Or they would just come running in and it was like a whole situation.
Is there even loss prevention anymore?
Yeah. I mean, as far as I know.
Stores are getting like just hammered. Like,
because they've stopped, like, you can't get in the way of people. You can't like touch people because of the actually like you could get hurt, you know, that kind of thing. I don't know.
That's not at all how it was when I was in high school working at the mall.
No, they were like, tackle that bitch to the ground.
People to the ground. That's exactly right.
It changed when I know when I worked at the mall in the 90s, we could approach people, but we were not supposed to like confront or follow. Like we would just walk up to like the rack where we knew somebody was and just hang out.
Feel like,
it was deterrent.
Hey. So when I worked at record stores, we would walk up and like you knew somebody was stealing something. You'd be like, it's kind of a shitty record, actually.
Yeah.
You sure you want to take that one?
Yeah. Come over here.
You really want to risk the cops like knocking you down for that piece of shit?
Oh, it's amazing.
And then be like,
How quickly we got lost.
Oh, it's very easy.
So fast.
So easy.
Here we are. But what I'm really here for, Megan, is to ask if you remember where you were on January 28th, 1986. How old would you have been in 1986?
1986, I would have been 15.
15 years old. Okay. And it's January, so you're mid-school year.
So I'm not quite there yet. So I'm 14.
Okay. So you're like a freshman then? Is that true? Yeah.
Is that right?
Probably.
I don't know.
Freshman in high school.
Yeah.
Probably, because that would be 14. And I would have been 2 years younger than you.
You little wiener.
Is that true? 13. Yeah. So I would have been 10. Okay, there. 83. There we go. 4 or 5. So that's...
She's doing finger
12. Math. I would have been 12. I would have turned 13 in May of 1986.
That tracks.
So on Tuesday, January 28th of 1986.
I couldn't tell you where I was, though.
I will tell you. You were at school.
I was at okay.
You were at school that day. Okay. Because that was the day that the Space Shuttle Challenger launched and subsequently exploded.
Yeah.
Yes. And it broke apart just 73 seconds after liftoff, killing all 7 crew members.
I remember the video, like, because I've seen it since then, right?
Yeah.
Like in like recaps.
So many times.
Recaps of the 20th century stuff,
Absolutely.
right? Like, okay.
Because it was a really pivotal, obviously, a very pivotal moment in the NASA space program.
I feel like I was corralled with others to watch that launch.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't know, why or... Anyway, go ahead.
Remember why? All the things.
Yeah.
So since I was 12, almost 13, I think I was probably in 7th grade. Okay. I was in 7th grade, and I remember it pretty vividly because I went to crazy Montessori school that was in a house. Mm-hmm. And so all of our classrooms were pretty small. So there were only like 8 or 10 of us in a room. And we had little antenna TVs plugged into every room.
Aluminum foil on the top.
I feel like I was in the reading room. Like I kind of have a sense of that room, but my brain like logically is like, no, you're probably in the science room. I don't know, but I do remember being there with my classmates, and we were watching it because it involved a teacher.
Oh, yes, of course.
Krista McAuliffe,
of course, yes,
was on that craft.
Yeah. And
there was a whole curriculum and like a huge national push to have students everywhere, of course, watching this. The cause, this is just like high level, the cause was traced to a rubber O-ring seal, which we've already made all of the O jokes that we could possibly do, in one of the solid rocket boosters that failed due to the unusually cold temperatures, which
that's right.
We'll get into a little bit later. Hot gases leaked. They ruptured the external fuel tank and destroyed the shuttle. The crew included Krista McAuliffe, the first teacher chosen for NASA's Teacher in Space program. And because of her, millions of students and teachers across the country were watching live as the tragedy unfolded. Wow.
Yeah.
So we were in a classroom watching because there was going to be a curriculum associated with it.
I can't place where. I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like I was corralled with other kids to watch something. So, I mean, it absolutely could have been like a science class thing. It could have been it could have been everybody get to the gym and we're going to play this on a big screen. Right?
Absolutely. It could have been projected on a movie screen. I mean, at that point, but I do know it was on like an actual TV. I don't know if we were watching like CNN. Okay. The CNN
because it was broadcast live.
It was broadcast live, and CNN had been on the air for 6 years at that point, and it was just the cable news network. But I don't think my school would have had access to cable, so I think it was probably like on 6, 8, like or 13
ABC
locally.
Or something. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. But it was one of those moments where, on purpose, whatever regular programming was on was paused, and everyone was watching the same thing at the same time live.
Wow.
No internet, no cell phones, like not the way that we understand it now. Information took time to be relayed. So
major news networks like ABC, CBS, and NBC did broadcast the disaster live on January 28th.
Yeah.
Along with CNN.
Isn't that crazy?
Which provided continuous live coverage through the whole thing. Wow.
So here we are, all sitting down. So we should go back, though, a little bit because it was like, why was there a teacher in space program? Who's Krista McAuliffe? Like, what the parts was
why
going on?
did she get the nod to do it?
Well, Sharon Krista McAuliffe was a teacher and an astronaut from Concord, New Hampshire. She died in the Space Shuttle Challenger mission, where she was serving as a payload specialist and educator. So her mission, I think I have this written in here, but her mission was to teach 2 lessons from space that would have been streamed then to schools. So there was a curriculum that she was going to be teaching from space. She got her bachelor's degree in education.
This is what happens when you open your M&Ms and they float all over the room.
So much cool stuff.
I don't think you can do that. I think that probably causes accidents too when your food goes floating.
Yeah, you probably don't want your M&Ms to get stuck in things. She had a bachelor's degree in education and history from Framingham State College, and in 1970 she got her master's degree in education, supervision, and administration. 1970. I didn't exist yet. And master's degree in education, supervision, and administration. This is the most complicated sentence I've ever read from Bowie State University in 1978. She took a teaching position as a social studies teacher at Concord High School in New Hampshire in 1983. So that's where she was when she was selected. There was a nationwide competition that NASA launched in 1984 when President Reagan, who was your
we talked about last week,
announced the Teacher in Space project. The idea was to send a classroom teacher into space to make lessons from orbit and spark student interest in science and space exploration.
Okay, so I'm just going to pause right here and say how fucking cool that happened, right?
Valuing education.
Yeah. But to lift up education that way, to want kids to learn, to teach them things like science.
Yes.
Pretty freaking amazing.
And to want them to want to go to space.
Right. This is what so much of things are missing now, which I think it's really hard for me to wrap my head around.
And the space shuttle was so unique, right? Like it was a ship that could go and come back, which and would land.
And would land like a plane.
Right? So it was the cusp of like, we're going to get to fly in planes and go to space when we are older.
Yeah, like, we're going to have a
in our lifetime
on the moon that we can go hang out.
Recreational travel to the moon or at least up into space. So I remember having all of these thoughts. The selection, how this all went down, there was a call for applicants between 1984 and 1985. So U.S. teachers from kindergarten through 12th grade could apply. 11,000 teachers submitted applications. They had to demonstrate teaching excellence, strong communication skills, and the ability to inspire students. Applications were reviewed at the state level by the Departments of Education. 114 semifinalists, 2 from each state, territory, and DC were chosen.
Wow.
The finalists, NASA narrowed that group down to 10, and then they went through medical evaluations, interviews, and an orientation at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. So it was a big friggin' deal.
Yeah, and I guess they'd probably have to go through all the astronaut training that anybody else would have to go through, like the, spinning around real fast and all the zero gravity stuff.
Do you pass out on roller coasters? The answer should be no.
Right. Would you like to go to space? Do you pass out on roller coasters?
Right. So on July...
Have you tried the Gravitron?
How did that go? Send us a picture.
Do you find this fun or terrifying?
I would say terrifying. That's me. I would not be in space. On July 19th, 1985, then Vice President George H.W. Bush announced McAuliffe as the primary candidate and Barbara Morgan, an Idaho teacher, as her backup. Krista was chosen because she had a reputation as an engaging, creative, and relatable teacher. She taught social studies in Concord, New Hampshire, and had a knack for making history come alive in her classroom.
Love it.
You know she was beloved.
Yeah.
Her teaching philosophy emphasized connecting students to real-world experiences, which aligned perfectly with NASA's goal of having a teacher share space exploration directly with kids. Her planned mission role was going to be to conduct 2 15-minute televised lessons from space, covering topics like the ultimate field trip and where we've been, where we're going, and why. She would also keep a space journal to bring her perspective back into classrooms. So it wasn't just her technical skills in science or engineering, but because she embodied the spirit of teaching and communication that NASA wanted to share with students nationwide.
I can imagine, had there not been the tragedy, how it would have probably spurred so much more.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because obviously this disaster shut things down.
Yes. Not just for the Teacher in Space program, but for the space program.
Yeah.
Period, for a number of years, which I have that later in my notes. And by the time that things started moving again, of course, like the public was like, maybe not. And
Don't
we're like,
think I want to go to space.
A few more years into the 80s, we're approaching the 90s, if not in the 90s. I'd actually have to look at that really quick. I wonder when the next space mission was following the Challenger disaster.
Googling.
Thank you. But it was just a different vibe. But I do remember the excitement leading up to that and the other space shuttle missions and how fucking cool it was to like see the space shuttle take off and come back.
Yeah.
I mean, it was real. Like it was super concrete. Like, and probably us being able to watch it on TV.
So the next space mission after Space Shuttle Challenger disaster was STS-26, the Return to Flight mission, which launched on September 29th, 1988. So just 2 years later, right?
Okay.
Using the Space Shuttle Discovery.
Okay.
It was the first American crew flight since January 86.
Wow. Talk about brave.
Yeah, for sure.
So because she was a teacher, every student in the United States knew who she was. And I will like run through my sources at the end of this. The interest was phenomenal, said John D. Cecil, director of elementary and secondary program for the Public Broadcasting Service. The social studies teachers' in-flight lessons were scheduled to be aired on PBS on day 4 of the mission. Wow. According to Mr. Cecil, nearly all public television stations in the country were planning to carry them. Oh, that's awesome. As a wild guess, I'd say probably in the neighborhood of 20 million kids would have been watching those lessons. This is really devastating for everyone. This is from an article like from the time, which I have listed at the bottom, and I'll read it to you at the end. The National Science Teachers Association had distributed information about the lessons along with teaching guides to its 40,000 members and had helped NASA develop the materials. Walter J. Westrom, executive director of Classroom Earth, said that some 2,000 elementary schools and high schools across the country had sent in letters confirming they would be viewing because there was no email. Mm-hmm. The launch and the lessons by satellite in the 3 weeks before takeoff, he said student volunteers answered hundreds of calls a day. Locally, states, districts, and individual schools had tried equally hard to promote the teacher in space and make her real for students. The Learn Alaska Network, I just loved this article, an educational satellite system sponsored by the Alaska Department of Education and the University of Alaska, had planned to broadcast the launch and the ensuing lessons to schools and homes in more than 250 communities.
Wow.
Right? It was like so important.
I just had to look this up because I swear I remember seeing something like with her and Sesame Street.
Yeah. Did you find it?
So what I found was that apparently NASA had originally considered sending Big Bird into space aboard the Challenger. So they were going to send the actor who plays Big Bird and the costume on the Challenger, and they ended up not doing it because the costume wouldn't fit.
Oh my gosh.
But what that's your PBS tie-in though, right? Like, can you imagine?
And I mean, it was traumatizing.
Oh, it was it was a woman, Carol Spinney, who played Big Bird.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Gosh, man. So there's this huge.
I'm sorry. Correction again. Carol is a man.
Carol. Sorry, Carol. No disrespect.
No disrespect.
There was just so much push. There was extraterrestrial education. There were all these month-long programs. I mean, there were people that were going to take field trips to the public television station for special programming for the space lessons. So it was just massive. So you can imagine how many thousands and thousands of people were watching live when this happened. At Auburn High School in Auburn, Washington, the alma mater of the shuttle's commander, Francis R. Scobie, students were home the day of the explosion while teachers came to school to assign semester grades. 2 of the state finalists for the Teacher in Space program who teach at the school first heard the news over the public address system. One of them, Kathy Wilson, was still reading over Miss McAuliffe's lesson plans the day after the disaster, hoping to revise them to use with her students. The day following the explosion was even harder, she said, because the truth had just sunk in. Students at school observed a minute of silence last week while 2 of their classmates played taps over the public address system. I do remember the moment of silence. Oh, okay. I do remember that. So thank you for triggering that. Yes. Whatever I can do.
I remember that. Coming over the loudspeaker, we're going to have a moment of silence for the Challenger. Yeah.
So this article that I've been quoting from was TV Brought the Trauma to Classroom Millions. It was an article from Education Week that came out at that time. You can give that a googs.
Lord.
So it was really important. It was super hyped up. billions of eyeballs, millions of eyeballs.
Well, billions too, because I know this was the broadcast went as far as like Russia. Like they were watching this too.
Okay.
You know? Like it was everywhere.
Yeah.
And and I'm sure had ripple effects to
profound
space exploration in other countries and their programs.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
Yeah. And then I think about it now, like being 50 years old, it's like you don't already know because I've been telling you how old I am all along. Anyway, like being the age that we are now, thinking about all of this, like I put myself more in the teacher's shoes.
Absolutely.
And in our parents' shoes.
Very much so.
And I think about things like 9/11, right?
Absolutely.
Like and how I, as an adult with a young child, reacted to all of that.
Yep.
Yeah. Gillian was a year and yeah. Not quite a year.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember vividly thinking to myself, I'm so glad she's so young. She will not have any memory of this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is a good one, Leslie. That's a big,
huge thing.
A big moment.
So it's interesting that you say that though, like thinking about it from the adult's perspective, because when I was reading, I was reading things from students' perspectives and like my own perspective. And a lot of students were like, we just went back to class, or like nobody said anything, or the TV just got turned off and our teacher walked out.
Oof,
because of course, as a young person, you're not thinking about the adults in the classroom who are teachers themselves, some of whom may have applied, watching another teacher die, the whole crew of the space shuttle die.
Well, and them not knowing
on
how
national television.
Is it my job to, or how do I have this conversation with these kids for something that's so tragic?
Yes.
And I assume, Gilly was too young, but I'm sure teachers went through that exact same thing on 9/11. Like, how do you deal with that?
Yes. And having your own emotions, like being in shock or upset or crying or whatever yourself, the same as 9/11, except you're like, my friend, aunt, relative, whatever is up in the Twin Towers. What's happening? Or at the Pentagon.
Oh yeah. Double that in New York.
How on earth do you be with your students at that time at the same time? So trauma is traumatic for everybody in the room. Do you know stuff about like the disaster and kind of like what happened, or like the point of controversy? Like I know we talked about the O-ring, but just the temperature was incredibly low in Florida, right?
Yes. Like it was
it got below freezing that night, which is wild.
Yeah.
It was
Cape
January,
Canaveral, right?
Ice coated the launch pad. Engineers at Morton Thoycol, the contractor for the solid rocket boosters, warned that the O-ring seals in the boosters might not function properly in such cold temperatures.
Wow, so they knew.
They tried to raise concerns. Their concerns were raised in a teleconference with NASA the night before. NASA management decided to proceed with the launch despite objections, citing schedule pressure and a belief that the risks were acceptable.
Oh, shit.
So
did not know that.
At 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the ship took off. There were 7 crew members: Francis Dick Scobie, he was the commander; Michael J. Smith, pilot; Ronald McNair, mission specialist; Ellison Onizuka, mission specialist; Judith Resnick, mission specialist; Gregory Jarvis, payload specialist; and Krista McAuliffe, teacher in space, civilian payload specialist. 30 seconds to launch. The shuttle cleared the tower. Cameras showed the small puff of smoke, which we were watching a video earlier, and you were like, oh, look at that.
There it is.
That was early evidence of the O-ring failure, but there's also like smoke coming up from the bottom. There's, there's all kinds of stuff happening. At first, escaping hot gases were sealed temporarily by aluminum oxide, which masked the problem. At T plus 36 to 58 seconds till launch, the post-launch, Challenger passed through max Q. I'm not a space person, but that is the point.
That sounds like a point of no return.
Of maximum aerodynamic pressure. Controllers reported that all systems were normal. The booster leak continued. Flames grew near the right booster joint. At T 1 minute 9 seconds, tracking cameras recorded a bright jet of flame, which if you have watched it recently, you can see
it.
The flame burn through the external tank structure. Liquid hydrogen and oxygen began leaking. A sharp change in telemetry suggested a breach. And then the right booster began to pivot outward. Wow. So you can see the boosters detach.
Yeah.
And then tragically, there is information. The crew cabin voice loop recorded the pilot, Michael Smith, saying, "Uh-oh."
Oh.
That was the last transmission. There was data or information that said that some of the safety mechanisms and devices in the cabin, the crew cabin, were activated, and that it is possible and actually likely that many of the crew did not die until the cabin impacted the ocean. Oh. So some of them may have survived. But
oh, God, this is rough.
It's so tragic. So we, of course, the aftermath. Oh, wait, do you have a question? You were looking so curious about all of this.
No question. Very sad. Very because this is stuff, and maybe it's just, I don't know, trauma does weird things, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Were we taught this? Or when did all of this come to light? Was
absolutely.
It super quiet and
great question?
Because you probably don't want to have a lawsuit when you ignore the fact that the O-ring people were like, hey, you might not want to.
Yes. And there was massive pushback. They were just, and they kept saying it and kept saying it and kept saying it, and they were ignored. So there was a report to the president released by the Presidential Commission on the Space Shuttle Challenger accident on June 6th, 1986. You can find that document
6 months later
online. It is 261 pages, and there is an in-depth analysis of all of this in that document. So that was one of the primary sources. I did not read the whole fucking thing. Let's be clear, but I did look at just some of the.
You do have a full-time job.
I've got a couple of jobs, but I did look at just the photography. It's interesting. There were some diagrams in there. It's also of its time in the 80s, so these things would of course look really different.
Hand typed, I'm sure.
Right? Yes. I mean, there were
word
process 86. No, there were
really.
IBMs.
I mean, sure.
Probably Apples, maybe. But their computers were this, a laptop would be the size of a building, I think, essentially. Afternoon and evening of January 28th, of course, NASA halted all launches. TV networks broadcast the disaster nonstop. Oof. Schools across the United States.
Nothing like making it worse by hey, let's watch it again.
Watch it again. Schools dealt with traumatized students who had watched it live, and of course, teachers. That evening, President Ronald Reagan postponed his State of the Union. So this is just...
Wow, this would have been that's exactly State of the Union time.
4 years after the shooting?
Yeah.
Right? This is 85. Have I lost my mind already?
No, I think you're right.
Okay, great.
86, but yeah.
Okay, cool. I love that. Thanks for remembering that for me. He postponed the State of the Union and gave a nationally televised speech memorializing the crew, which I don't really remember watching that, but I'm sure we did. It was probably that summer because we would have watched the State of the Union. We didn't have cable.
Well, it wasn't that summer. It would have been right after, right?
That evening. So in January, I'm sure we watched it. I mean, what else is going on in January in Indiana?
Nothing.
The Rogers Commission investigated the disaster, confirmed the O-ring failure in cold weather, compounded by management ignoring engineering
Somebody
warnings.
lost their job, I assume.
Yeah, and shuttle flights were suspended for nearly 3 years, resuming in 88 with the discovery. There were lots of things that were changed in NASA that didn't really impact us as human, civilians too much, other than civilians were excluded, of course. And launch schedules were relaxed to reduce pressure and emphasize caution. So they totally reoriented to this safety first protocol for everything. Yeah. And I wonder too, just as I'm theorizing, because space exploration had progressed from the 60s to the 80s, not seamlessly, but with so much the space race, and there's so much glory put around it that
it was a sense of
felt
natural pride. Yeah. Big time.
We could everything is going to be a success. It's just going to be one success after the other.
It was not.
No, it was wild.
Well, like all things in science, Sometimes things go wrong.
Absolutely.
It's just the way it is.
All of life is a ding dang darn experiment.
Pretty much.
And going to space is dangerous. And this was 1980s technology.
If asked and offered, would you go to space?
I think I would when I'm older.
Okay.
Like I would go.
So William Shatner age, right?
I would go in my 70s.
Let me go.
I don't have a great desire to space. I love space. I love Hubble telescope. I love pictures of space. I am so fascinated by galaxies and stars. I took astronomy in college. I went out in the middle of the night with my class to like look at cool shit. I find it fucking fascinating. But like much like I don't have a desire to be a pilot, I don't have a desire to go into space.
It's interesting.
But there are people who like fucking love flying, and I'm like, go flying people.
Enjoy that. Yeah.
I'm going to sail a boat on the water.
I hear that.
Yeah. Would you go?
There was a time that I would have said, if offered like a trip to Mars, right? A one-way ticket to Mars type of thing, would you go? And I would have said yes, because just that sense of exploration would have been so like, how do you turn that down?
For
right?
sure.
Like you get to go see things nobody else gets to see.
Absolutely.
And I don't know that I feel that way anymore.
Yes.
Like I definitely would have taken it.
If you'd asked me in my 20s,
right,
I would have been like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Right.
Why would I stay here?
Same.
But now like I have children, different phase of life. Yeah. I think I'm like, that's a risk that I would be taking, not just for myself, but like for generations of my family. Exactly. So I would think of it differently. But I absolutely think we should be investing in the space program and in space exploration.
For sure. Yeah.
And in science and engineering. And,
STEM all the way.
Lesson learned. Trust the experts. Engineers know things.
Sometimes.
Scientists are science.
They're going to tell you that O-ring ain't going to work in the cold.
That's what she said. The O-ring. All right. So it was pretty interesting.
That was really good. Yeah.
I didn't remember all of that, and of course didn't know the detail.
No.
And
that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Right? It's like those little things that we're like, well, I didn't know that when I was.
Huge context of all of it. Yeah, it's really fascinating. So maybe it didn't change seatbelt laws or gun laws, but it definitely changed safety protocols,
travel, all
in
the
the
things.
Space program,
for sure.
and impacted all of us.
We still don't have a flying car. Maybe this is why. I don't know. But
what the
still
fuck?
fucking waiting for
Where's
my flying car.
Fucking flying car. We're still even missing the boat on self-driving cars, even though the technology exists.
Kind of exists.
I don't know. There is more thorough. It's just not, it's not in those one cars.
My husband has a new car. He got a Volkswagen Tiguan. Is that what it's called?
Oh, fancy Tiguan. Man.
I know. It's very fancy. He did get the super decked out one because he wanted a specific color.
Sure. Understood.
He wanted the lights on the front to light up, like the logo to light up. So
I thought you were going to say he wanted like kit car lights, and I'm like, yes,
it kind of has kit car lights in the back. Yeah, so amazing. He wanted those lights. So yes, he got the top of the line one. Mm-hmm. That thing, it doesn't drive itself. Mm-hmm. You still have to drive it. But my God, if it senses anything in front of you that's going to happen, that shit slams on the brakes. And it's just like, oh my God, we got this car. Like, he's not going to, it's fine. Oh, it's super sensitive.
Really?
Beeps and does all kinds of shit. I'm like,
because we have a little bit of that on our newer one. We're always in the like slightly new, and then my car's like 13 years old, and we'll just keep going till it falls to bits. So the newer one will like kind of yell at me if I'm like on a line or too close, or I really love the it's not self-drive, the cruise control feature. It'll like slow down if I'm not paying good attention. Right.
And I have that in mind.
Okay.
Where it will like, it lights up and stuff. It's like warns you that something's could happen. This is super sensitive.
Next level.
This is like cram on the brakes and you're just like, fucking A.
Oh my God. Could cause an accident. Do you have to, does he have to pay for subscriptions to own his car, or is he good? Can he just keep it?
I think he's got it.
Okay.
Like, I don't think it's like,
I've read about that shit. I'm like, I will never do that.
It has a ridiculous huge screen. And I think what we've read after buying this one is that car makers are now getting away from those big screens. And thank God, because just even trying to change the radio, all of that is on this screen. It's super distracting.
Yeah.
So I guess it's good that the car will slam on the brakes if I guess.
Right? Okay.
Because you're fucking around with no, I'd I don't know, this station.
So I
hate this song. It's Steely Dan. Get this fucking shit off of here.
Fuck Steely Dan. Sorry, no disrespect.
I know, somebody loves them.
So had this accident not happened, we might have gone to space in our lifetime or had flying cars.
I mean, we can only speculate.
Maybe.
We might have had a place on the moon. A base or something on the moon.
Possibly. We could have had a place on the moon.
I feel like we were closer to that.
I was planning to have a place in outer space. Yeah, here it is. We're watching just the moment of liftoff. We don't have to watch all of this with our listening audience.
No, they can find it. It's interesting. It's the CNN broadcast is actually on YouTube.
Space Shuttle Challenger explosion, 1986.
Wow.
So, dear Gen X women, with that, send us your memories.
Yeah, please do. Tell us something that we should dig into because we'd love to.
This has been fascinating. And maybe you were impacted. Maybe you went to a school that went all in with this.
Did you go to space camp after?
Oh, did you go to space camp? I did want to go to space camp.
Yeah.
There were some good movies. Did you happen to go to Krista McAuliffe's school or were you in her community? Let us know. Share your thoughts. We will happily share them later on.
Look at that. You can tell in the feed.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. The moment where it explodes. It literally says it's the most replayed. So
thank you for this, Leslie. This has been really fascinating.
Happy October.
Yes, to you too.
And
happy spooky season.
Happy spooky season, everybody. And we'll be back in just a couple of weeks.
Love it.
You have been listening to Gen X Women Are Sick of This Shit. Hey, Megan.
Hey, Leslie.
What do people do if they want to find us?
Well, we have a website that people can find us on, and that is genxwomenpod.com. We also have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram account as well. Mm-hmm. We have a YouTube account where we put YouTube shorts and other little tidbits up there. We have a TikTok account.
I don't talk the tick or tick the talk.
You don't tick the talk?
I
barely talk the tick, but I did put a TikTok up.
We're explaining the internet to people. That's okay, though.
It's great.
We need to know how the internet works. Can people buy merch?
They absolutely can. We have a merch store on the website itself, and we also have an Etsy store, too. So they're just pretty easy to find. It's just Gen X Women on Etsy.
And if you are listening to this podcast, presumably you found it somewhere. And while you're there, give us a review.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think.
Throw some stars at us.
That'd be great. We'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5.
Ooh, 5.
Maybe 10.
And also make sure that you are hitting subscribe so that you're notified whenever a new episode drops.
Most important.
We also have a 5 minutes of fame that I think we should tell people about, too.
Hell yes. We want to know your stories, your 5 minutes of fame stories. You can send those stories in on the website, or you can call 1-888-GEN-X-POD and leave your story for us, and we will play it live in our next episode.
Yep.
2 or 3.
We'll listen to it on a little red phone, just like Batman.
That'd be cool. Let's get a bat phone.
A bat phone.
I think that's it.
I think you're right.